Hello everyone.
Hi Shaun.
Today I'd like to take a look at a video from a YouTuber by the name of Roaming Millennial entitled People of Colour, You Are Not Oppressed. And wouldn't that be nice?
That would be fantastic, Shaun. Fantastic.
Who is Roaming Millennial?
Alright. Now, he asked that question. Who is Roaming Millennial? What he is about to tell you in answer to that question is who he thinks Roaming Millennial is. He kind of just tells you like what you should think she is, like the person that you think you should think that she is, by kind of just saying who he thinks that she is. But he makes it sound like it's a legitimate answer to the question, who is Roaming Millennial? But it fucking isn't.
Well, she's one of the YouTubers in the I'm not a racist, but vein. You know, so she's not a racist. Okay, acknowledged she's not a racist. But she's got a few questions, you know.
See? That like kind of shitty, smarmy way that he fucking tells you what he thinks about her. Like that.
So I'm going to do my good deed for the day here and provide the answers to those questions.
This is hysterical. This be the Canadian University. This beat that. And I had a really good video lined up for that. This is so much funnier.
Just one YouTuber helping another YouTuber out.
Yeah, you're helping me out too, buddy. And I'm going to try and help you.
So what is Roaming Millennial's video about? Well, I would encourage you to watch the whole thing, and I'll put a link in the description. But I'll show a couple of short clips here, just to get us started off.
Alright, so here's where it's not going to be a whole lot of me, just kind of fucking with them. I'm going to let them have their say, in the way that Shaun cuts it down. So just bear that in mind as we watch, but nevertheless, I'm going to let them have their full, her full time to propose the statement and his response, and then I will respond. We're going to do it in that vein. We're going to keep this very nice and very disciplined. This is going to be a civil debate. We're not going to fuck with each other a whole lot. There's going to be no arguing or anything like that, so if you're here for drama, sorry, we're all adults here. We can discuss things as adults. And, this is all pre-recorded. I'm watching them.
So in this video, in the hopes of healing this headache of imaginary oppression that is going around the social justice sphere, we're going to be talking all about oppression. What it means to be oppressed and how in the United States and in the rest of the Western world, no, people of color, you are not oppressed. So to start, let's go over the definition of oppression. And yes, I know this is super basic, but after hearing those students protest, I really do feel that cracking a dictionary open is necessary. So the definition of oppression is really quite simply prolonged cruel or unjust treatment or control. Now with this definition, I think it is perfectly clear to say that in the past, people of color, and more specifically African American people, were oppressed by societies in the United States in general. I'm not going to argue against that. However, the issue here is that these evergreen students and so many social justice warriors out there are not just arguing for the idea of past oppression, but for current and ongoing oppression. And really, that is just a completely inaccurate analysis of the world that we live in. Obviously, in the United States, there are no legal rights that a white person possesses that a non-white person does not, and there are no laws on the books that reference an individual's race in any way, right? I mean, our legal system, our entire system of government is not one that is racially coded.
Now, she has a good point there, which he never addresses. So, fuck, I don't know. But I would love it, Shaun, if you could actually address the point she makes there at the end that you decided to include for fuck knows whatever reason. We have no laws that are racially coded. Just saying.
Okay, so here's the main thrust of Roaming Millennial's argument. Oppression may have happened in the past. And that's good, she concedes that much at least.
I will concede that much as well. Oppression happened in the past.
But today we have legal equality, so that means oppression is not happening at all. Now the first mistake she's made here is a rather basic one, and it's one you see a lot online. Roaming Millennial is only considering legality. She showed the dictionary definition of oppression, prolonged cruel or unjust treatment or control, but appears to have misread it. Legal rights are not mentioned here. Oppression can still happen even within a legal system that is on paper completely equal and just, because the system isn't perfect, of course. It's made up of individuals all with their own beliefs and biases, and the sum of those beliefs and biases can add up to a system that appears fair on the surface, but delivers unfair results.
Shaun? I don't know if you may have misread it, but nowhere in that definition does it mention fairness. It does, however, mention unjust, which mentions legalities, but it nowhere states fairness. For the world is an unfair fucking place, Shaun. As my sister will tell you at length, and still, I'm 38! I don't even know how old she is, but she's way older than me. Not way older, she'd be mad at me if she were way older, but she's older than me. And still, she gets angry that my parents would ground her for shit that I would do and not get grounded for. The world is fucking unfair, Shaun. But our laws are not. Well, to be fair, some laws are not fair. There are a lot of laws that are not fair, but not racially unfair. It's just shitty laws. I think weed should be legal, but, you know, that's unfair. But everybody can't smoke weed legally, except in places where you can. It's not fair that it's not legal in Ohio. It's bullshit. But, you know, it's still illegal for black people too, and it's illegal for white people. It's not like only white people can smoke. That would be unjust. It's the difference between fairness and justice, Shaun. And that's the problem with you people. Those of you, the they. You, Shaun, the they. Those of you, though, them. Ugh. That's what's wrong with you guys. You insert this fairness fucking thing, and you can't make the world fair, bitch.
But we'll loop back around to this in a second. For now, let's watch the next part of Roaming Millennial's argument where she attempts to address these unfair results.
And while, in my opinion, equal standing in the eyes of the law and equal standing before government is a pretty clear indication that oppression is not happening, some critics might say no. What are you talking about? There's no equal standing. There are huge racial disparities when it comes to the legal system, especially the criminal justice system. Just look at how much more likely black people are to be incarcerated than Hispanic or white people. I mean, obviously that's the result of oppression. Okay, so to answer the question of oppression in relation to the criminal justice system, which comes up a lot, we first need to return to our definition of oppression. To repeat once more, oppression is prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. So what this definition means for our discussion here is that black people being more likely to be incarcerated is not evidence in and of itself to prove that they are oppressed. Oppression refers specifically to unjust treatment or unjust punishment. So for oppression to be happening, black people would need to be incarcerated unjustly at a higher rate than other races, right? Because it wouldn't be oppression if these people were being justly arrested and prosecuted for crimes that they actually did commit. So while many social justice activists try to paint the large black prison populations in the US as evidence of oppression, the fact is that black people are more likely to commit crimes than other races. So with this being the case, it is not unjust and therefore not oppressive for the racial makeup of prison populations to be representative of the racial makeup of people who commit crimes. The question here isn't, are there proportionately more black people in prison than white people, because obviously that's the case. The question is why? Is it because prejudice causes more black people than white people to be convicted of crimes that they did not commit? Or is it because on average a black person is more likely to commit a crime than a white person and therefore more likely to go to jail for what they've done? Statistics would indicate the latter.
Statistics would indicate the latter, apparently. Well, we'll see. Now then, Roaming Millennial makes several errors in this section. Some are errors of mathematics, some errors of omission, and a couple of contradictions of logic there too. I don't know where to start, really, to be honest. But how about we start with this statement of Roaming Millennials. For oppression to be happening, black people would need to be incarcerated unjustly. You see, her point here is that black people are more likely to commit crimes than other races, so it makes sense for them to be a larger percentage of the prison population. So first of all here, what she does not examine, possibly on purpose, is whether or not these percentages match up, because that's important. And I'll give you two scenarios here. So, scenario 1. Let's say one group of people are 10% more likely to commit crimes than other groups of people and also make up 10% extra of the prison population. Now that's what you'd expect in a fair system, at least without factoring wider society into our little example here anyway. Now, scenario 2. One race of people are 10% more likely to commit crimes than other races, but make up 30% extra of the prison population. Now that's unfair and unjust treatment, even accounting for that hypothetical group's higher relative criminality. Do you understand?
You see, it's when. See, all right. You might think I'm a fan of Roaming Millennials. I'm very much not. I think she's kind of an ass. She's another one of those. I'm a pretty girl. And says the same fucking thing everybody else does. She's red pill black. She doesn't have the controversy. You bring up dumb fuck shit. The only statistic that matters that you should be talking about in this scenario is what is the statistic of black men incarcerated for crimes they committed and black men that are incarcerated for crimes they did not. Like, that's the one that matters. So, and you also have to look at why they're incarcerated for crimes they didn't commit. There are a lot of black men who are incarcerated for crimes they did not commit. It's funny. It's not funny to me that they're incarcerated for crimes they didn't commit. What's funny to me is they usually, from what I've heard, I don't even have a statistic for this. This is just a story I hear a lot. Black men seem to be incarcerated unjustly a lot for false rape claims. You know, I just figure throwing that in there would be something that Shaun, like, he would hear that and, like, maybe his fucking head would explode. Because if he does actually, I guarantee you Shaun won't fucking answer this video ever. Because you can't answer me, buddy. My defense is too raw. Because I'll predict your basic ass. You won't answer me just because of that. Because you'd have to address it. You'd have to address that. Which means you would have to prove that it never happens. Or you would have to prove that it does happen. You would have the conundrum of, am I a fucking feminist or am I a black ally? And you wouldn't know what to do, I don't think. I think your head would fucking blow up. Because that's your Kobayashi Maru, dude. I'm not going to tell you how to figure it out. Normally I would launch into how to figure it out. I know how to figure out how to answer that fucking question. But I don't think you do.
So, returning to reality, which of our little scenarios there more accurately reflects the criminal justice system in the United States? Well, one way to answer this question is to look not at how certain groups are treated within the system, but how individuals belonging to those groups are treated. So let's do that. And here's a study from 2013 from the Yale Law Journal entitled Mandatory Sentencing and Racial Disparity, assessing the role of prosecutors and the effects of Booker. And I'd like to read you a few lines from their conclusion. We agree that the high rate of incarceration of black men is a serious social problem, and that examining the possible contribution of disparities in the criminal justice system is important. Our research suggests that in the federal system, disparities in the post-arrest justice process contribute to this problem. After controlling for the arrest offence, criminal history and other prior characteristics, sentences for black male arrestees diverge substantially from those of white male arrestees by about 10% on average. While this disparity does not seem to be growing, it is persistent. So, did you like that study?
I did. I thought it was very intriguing. But one study means nothing to me. You must have at least two.
Because here's another.
Alright, well fuck you, now it needs to be 3.
This is a United States Sentencing Commission report entitled Report on Continuing Impact of United States v. Booker on Federal Sentencing. And what did that find? The Commission's updated multivariate regression analysis showed, among other outcomes, that black male offenders have continued to receive longer sentences than similarly situated white male offenders. And how much longer were their sentences? This is from later in the report. For example, sentence length for black male offenders exceeded sentence length for white male offenders by 19.5%. And I should note here that I found both of these reports in an article responding to Roaming Millennial on pathos.com, which I will link in the description. So that's fairly clear cut there, I think. On an individual level, controlling for all the factors except race, black men still get longer sentences than white men. And because they get longer sentences than white men, they will on average be in prison for longer, and therefore at least some part of their overrepresentation in the prison system is accounted for by this unfair sentencing. Any argument for this to be fair that mentions black people's increased relative likelihood of being criminals would have to therefore argue that individual black people deserve longer individual sentences relative to other races. And this is without considering that the very metric we're using to declare black people's increased relative criminality is frequency of occurrence in the criminal justice system, which we've just proven is biased against them.
Now, hold up. My question is, let's say, for instance, you commit a crime, and the sentencing is possibly between 20 and 50 years, right? Now, are we saying that white people are getting and serving or whatever, however you want to call it, whatever it is that you want to say in your statistic, however you want to make it up, are we saying that they're getting 20 to 30 years and black people are getting 40 to 50 years? Or are we saying that they're getting 5 to 10 and black people are getting 70 to 80? Like, because that would be unjust, because that would fall outside of the scope of the law. So if that is not the case, if it's the 20 to 30 years for white people and 40 to 50 years, but the sentence could be 20 to 50 for anybody, it's unfair. Yes, that is unfair. And that is wrong. I mean, I would like to take more factors into consideration on a case-by-case basis, however, than just simply race. But nevertheless, it is unfair. If it does come down literally to just race, then yeah, that's fucking unfair. But there are other factors involved. You know, general attitude of the person and such, severity of the crime, these types of things. Because it does, after all, say that they're similarly situated. So you can't really legitimately say that it takes out all factors except race. And even if it did take out all factors except race, that's a biased fucking study. Because you're not taking into the factors involved. Like, there's factors and whatever. Anyways. So, as long as the sentencing is still fitting within the law, Shaun, it's unfair, but that's not oppression. Unfair isn't oppression. Everybody deals with fucking unfair. Life is fucking unfair. Again, I used to do the same shit my sister did, and I would not get in trouble for it. She came home drunk one day and was fucking grounded for a week. I came home drunk, I was told to sleep it off. Fucking life ain't fair, man. But, you know what's funny is had she not gotten drunk, she wouldn't have been grounded. And had I not gotten drunk, I wouldn't have been hungover.
And it's not just on the prosecution end that black people get screwed over. One fact I like to bring up here is that black people are several times more likely than white people to be arrested for marijuana possession, even though black people and white people smoke weed at similar rates.
See, what's funny here is my sister got in trouble for smoking weed, and I never smoke weed, because it's illegal, and that's wrong.
It's all well and good to have a fair and just system on paper, but that doesn't mean the system necessarily delivers fair and just results.
Fair and just are separate. You can be unfair and still be just. And as long as it's just, I'm fine with it. Shit's unfair all the time. You have like 40,000 fucking subscribers and you're an idiot. It's not fucking fair. So, what am I going to do about it? Make fun of you.
For oppression to be happening, black people would need to be incarcerated unjustly, said Roaming Millennial, and she's correct. They are. So, therefore, it is, if you follow.
Yeah, see, I don't fucking follow, Shaun, because you didn't prove that they're A, being, incarcerated for not committing crimes, and you didn't prove that B, their sentencing is falling outside of the tenets of the law. So you didn't prove fucking things, Shaun. You proved that life's unfair. We all know that, because life's unfucking fair, man.
So, to move on here, Roaming Millennial there mentioned the black crime rate as justification for a relatively high incarceration rate compared with other races. And I'd like to ask a question here. What would Roaming Millennial argue is the cause of that higher crime rate? And there's only two answers, really. There's the genetic/racist argument. Black people are inherently by birth more likely to be criminals. And there's the societal argument, the disparity is explained by a combination of cultural and socio-economic factors alongside the aforementioned bias in the justice system. And as a little aside here, one annoying thing you tend to see online is someone who secretly favours the genetic argument but fears saying it out loud, so they just dismiss the societal factors one by one as being irrelevant without ever actually committing to the genetic argument. And that can be a little irksome. Anyway, which argument does Roaming Millennial put forward? And I'll read a couple of Twitter conversations here. Roaming Millennial says, minority communities on average have more crime than mixed or majority white communities. That leads to increased cop encounters. And a Twitter user called Flying Volvo says, really makes you think about what causes it, doesn't it? Almost like there's some underlying causes of crime in African American communities. To which Roaming Millennial responds, poverty and culture. So it appears here that Roaming Millennial favours the socio-economic argument. Poverty is linked with crime, after all, and increased poverty in predominantly African American areas would explain the disparity in the crime statistics.
See, my point of view of it is that when people commit crimes, crime goes up. And if people commit less crimes, crime goes down. And if people would stop committing crimes, crime would stop completely. Right? I don't blame it on anything but the criminal's intent to commit a crime. Right? Because I don't believe that black people are fucking animals. Just throwing that out there. I don't believe they're animals. I don't believe in the genetic excuse because that essentially says that they're animals. I think that black people can control themselves. I think they're human beings. And I think that they can choose to not fucking commit crimes. And if they choose to not commit crimes, they won't be arrested. Because we don't arrest black people for just being black. So anytime any of you guys really start discussing this fucking issue and trying to blame black people's committing crimes on anything other than they committed crimes, you muddy down the issue. The problem is that people commit crimes. Notice I didn't say black people. I said people. And it would be a much nicer, crime-free world if people would stop committing crimes. Right? Like, how fucking stupid are the both of you? You're saying black people are animals. You're saying they can't help themselves. No matter what. You're blaming it on shit. It's poverty plus culture. No. It's because they commit crimes. It's because they choose to commit crimes. It's because they're human beings, and human beings choose to do things. They don't do it because they absolutely fucking have to. Unless they do it because they absolutely fucking have to. Which will be proven out in a court of law, hopefully. And there you go. But you know what? Shit's not fucking fair. And sometimes it fucking doesn't go right. And that sucks. But again, it's not like it happens to everybody. There's not a rash of black people just being scooped up and thrown into prison. Like, they have to be accused of a crime at the very least. And if they get a shit lawyer, and they wind up fucking them, and they go to jail, you know, that sucks. That's unfair. And the person that falsely accused them of a crime committed a crime that they then got away with. And that shit's not fucking fair. But it doesn't happen all the fucking time. And it isn't the reason why black people are committing crimes. The reason black people commit crimes is the same reason that white people commit crimes. Because they fucking commit crimes. Stop committing crimes.
However, with regards to our oppression argument here, we necessarily have to consider the causes of that poverty.
No, we don't. We don't. Because again, you're just saying they're animals. That they can't control themselves. No. Fuck that. We all need to take responsibility for what we do. Don't commit crimes.
Because it's entirely possible that the poverty argument is simply the genetic argument again, but one step removed from what will get you banned off Twitter.
Whoa. Where are you about to go with this, Shaun?
If the poverty's causes are unexamined, an audience might assume that black people are genetically more likely to be in poverty due to possessing some inherent poverty-related characteristics, and therefore, by proxy, more likely to be criminals.
So wait. So okay, so since the poverty is part of the thing that happened, then that connects with fucking crime, right? So crime to poverty to genetics, right? That's the link we're trying to make here. Crime to poverty to genetics, and then genetics was in X-Men First Class with Kevin Bacon.
Now we know that Roaming Millennial has previously stated that oppression existed in the past. So the question here is, could that past oppression have contributed to creating the current poverty? So I guess we have to ask, how far in the past is Roaming Millennial talking when she says oppression existed?
My only response to this, I'm just going to spoil it so y'all can sit here and fucking think the dumbass thoughts that I was thinking the whole fucking time about him. Dude, it's going to take a lot longer than 50 fucking years, man. It's going to take longer than 1 or 2 generations to pull people out of that shit. But I'm telling you, it happens every day, right? My parents' neighbors, great people. Great people. Every time I pull in, if he's outside, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? You know, maybe chat, toss a little fucking small talk back and forth, right? You know, over the old backyard fence. Black dude, white wife, mixed kids, and they live next to my parents, right? So their kids are gonna have the same upbringing as I had. And, you know, but they used to live in a really fucking bad crime-riddled area, right? So they moved to the suburbs, there's no fucking crime, right? He works like 3 jobs, and she works like 2 jobs. And they did that to be able to afford to be able to move to the nice suburbs, so that their kids can have the nice suburb education, the white education, move to the white neighborhood, which is not anymore, not even close. There's so many black people around now that it's normalized. Oh, people don't freak out when they see black people anymore. Oh, it's so interesting how that happens. That the more if somebody's around, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, they wanted to move away from that shit so that their kids wouldn't have to grow up in that shit, because he grew up in that shit. And he didn't want his kids to grow up in that shit. So he busts his fucking ass to make sure that they don't grow up in poverty. He's a damn good father, damn good man. How dare you try to make it like He overcame some fucking the other people can't overcome some fucking thing like poverty. You can't. You bust your ass. And no, life isn't fucking fair, and it doesn't work for everybody. Some people die in the fucking streets horribly, and that sucks. But that's life, and you're never gonna get rid of that. And you can't explain away why somebody committed a crime other than saying they committed a crime, and it was wrong of them to do that. It isn't oppression when you're punished for committing a crime.
And returning to Twitter again, a Twitter user called Hip Hop is Knowledge said, "My parents weren't even allowed to drink from water fountains in public, you dumb fuck." To which Roaming Millennial responds, "No one's denying institutionalized racism/oppression existed in the past, literally no one, but that's not indicative of current policies." Now this exchange indicates that Roaming Millennial considers the Jim Crow laws that enforced racial segregation in the United States to be examples of institutionalized racism and oppression. Very good. I'm with her on that.
I'm with her on that too, man. It's going to take a lot longer than 50 fucking years.
Now these laws were in place until the mid-1960s. So from the Declaration of Independence up until roughly 50 years ago, according to Roaming Millennial, there was institutionalized racism and oppression in the United States. So accepting that, it would be very bizarre indeed to then go on to claim that such a long period of racism and oppression would have zero effects whatever on current society. You know, if you enslave a given race of people and prevent education and break up families and confiscate all their belongings and deny them the vote, and then subject them to a post-slavery period where for generations they're forbidden by law from attending the best schools and all the other rights afforded the majority, all these things have lasting effects. Black people in poverty in the United States are in a poverty that was in part created by this history of oppression, and that's unfair and unjust, isn't it?
Yep, that's life. Dude, seriously, man. I think a lot of younger people have realized that it's going to take a lot longer than 50 years, and that they're going to have to bust their asses, and they don't want to bust their asses because they've had enough of a taste of the good life that they fucking just want it, and they don't want to have to work for it. But I'm sorry, you gotta work. And that doesn't mean selling drugs, committing crimes. It means working. Get a fucking job and working. And if you're in an area where there's no fucking job, find a place where there's a job. I drive a half an hour away from my home to and from every day. Go to work. I know people that drive hours to go to work. And they go to work. Bust their ass. My cousin drives to another state to go to work. You figure it the fuck out. You save up enough money, hopefully, to where you can move yourself into a nice little apartment right near work. You gotta build, man. You gotta stack. And you gotta bust your ass. But life isn't fucking fair. And that's why. Because it takes hard fucking work.
And as a brief side note about culture here, which Roaming Millennial cites as another reason for the crime rate disparity, one particular culture is only one side of the coin. We also have to consider how that culture is perceived on the outside. Now, an individual black person might be subject to discrimination based on that perception, and any one average individual has a minimal effect on that culture as a whole.
Yeah, well, fucking... That's the unfair thing again, man. Life's unfair. But maybe if your culture wasn't bitches and 40s and shooting people... But if you don't dress like you're a part of that culture, people pay very little heed. It's amazing.
People can't always choose how they're perceived. You know, you can criticize a culture as a whole, but you can't hand wave away longer prison sentences for individual black people because of it. That's unfair and unjust.
It is unfair. But is it unjust? Again, you're not saying... You would think that he would have 500 fucking articles about this guy was imprisoned way outside of the legal, you know, basis for the fucking... Doesn't have any of that shit. None of it. He's telling you what he thinks, folks. It's all just what I think. I'm going to look at these statistics and tell you what I think, but I'm going to make it sound like I'm telling you statistics. He's fucking not. Don't be fooled.
Let's take a look at another argument of roaming millennials now, the Asian American argument.
And that's where we end the video, folks, because fucking... Because he's got you there, you dummy. He's got you. Fucking roaming millennial. This is why I'm not a fan of roaming millennial. Because she's one of those fucking people that just says the same shit everybody else says. And anytime that she tries to fucking throw her own thoughts in, it fucks up. She brings up the Asian American thing. Hey, again, you're missing the fucking point. You're venturing off topic. Why do people venture off topic when they're talking about anything? Why do they just decide to venture off topic? Oh, I have to strengthen my argument by taking a completely different race and making a completely separate fucking similarity. No. Bad. Don't do that. Why? Your argument's fucking fine where it was. And you throw that dumb shit in, and then Shaun just fucks you up. He makes you look so stupid because you're fucking stupid. Why even bring it up? You gave him ammunition, you dummy. And I have to say that he fucking got you. Hate that shit. But yeah, he gets it from here. And I can't fucking stomach watching it again. Because it's fucking so stupid she brought it up. It has nothing to do with anything. It has fucking nothing to do with anything. I think I fairly well tackled Shaun's argument. It has nothing to do with anything. It's not fucking important. And I just can't, I can't watch anymore. Fucking, no. It's dumb. There's no reason to bring it up. It has no correlation. It has... You should compare random things now. It's so upsetting. But anyways, yeah, that's the fucking video. I'll link it in the description, of course, if you want to go check out Shaun's video, and see him just fuck her up on the whole Asian American thing. He's got such a good point there. I would actually like to see Roaming's response to this video. I think that would be interesting, especially the fucking Asian American thing. And here's a tip, Roaming. You come out and go, yeah, I'm a fucking idiot, and I shouldn't even brought that dumb shit up because it has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, that should be your fucking response. You nerds. There you go. Dude, black people, I'm talking to you from the fucking heart, man. You're not animals. Don't let these people try and make you believe you're animals. You're not animals, and you're not victims by birth. Fucking pull yourself up. Work hard. And for those of you who are working hard, fucking awesome, man. Do your shit. You know? For those of you not committing crimes, awesome. Keep it up. And for those of you committing crimes, hey, asshole. You're making black people look bad. You're fucking up the mother race. Like, stop. Just everybody. Just stop committing crimes. Fuck everybody. Whatever. You know? Let's blame it all on other things. Let's try and pretend there is an excuse. There's no excuse. You commit crimes. If people are getting arrested unjustly, that's fucked up. That shouldn't happen. That's bullshit. And I will fight against that. But I haven't seen it yet. Nobody brings a case up. So until somebody does, and dude, Fucking shit's unfair. Can't help that. Don't commit crimes. Don't bitch about how long your fucking sentence is. You shouldn't have committed a crime. Black people, guess what? Now you know going in. You don't want to commit crimes because you might go to jail for the fucking maximum. And that sucks. So don't commit crimes. I think you have the power to do it. I believe in you. What? Like, it's so fucking shitty what everybody's doing with black people. That's why I hate white people. Because we talk about black people like they're fucking children and like they're animals. And we infantilize them. And then they latch onto it, which is the saddest fucking part. And they go, yeah, I'm a victim of my circumstances. No, you're a victim because you want to be. Stop it. Bust your ass. That's what it takes. Figure it out. Figure it the fuck out. Do something. But to say that there's oppression in this country is ridiculous shit fucking stupid. Because what you're doing when you say that is you're feeding into the past oppression. You're still keeping black people down by telling them they're oppressed. You're not fucking oppressed, black people. You just need to work hard. That's what it fucking takes to succeed in life. I don't know what to tell you. You bust your ass. But life isn't fucking fair. And you can't be fair. Some people are born fucking stupid. And they never learn. This shit's unfair. But you can't regulate that. You can't say, well, we're going to have to figure out a way to bring up their IQ. They're just fucking stupid. And they don't learn. Can't help it. And you can't fucking make all the rest of us dumb down to their level. Because god damn it, that's what you do with everything else. You lower the fucking bar. Stop lowering the bar. The bar needs to be exactly where it fucking is. Life is hard. Persevere. Why do we fall, Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. Seriously, man. You don't like your situation? Figure it the fuck out. Change it. Figure out a way. Don't commit crimes if you don't want to be arrested. And if you commit a crime and you get arrested, you don't have a whole lot of right to bitch about how long your fucking sentence is. Because as long as it's within the min-max set by the law, it's just unfair at that point. It isn't fucking unjust. You're not being oppressed. You're being an ass. Stop buying into this infantilizing horse shit. It isn't because people were oppressed up to 50 years ago that you're not successful. It's because you're not successful. And it isn't because white people be a motherfucker that black people serve longer sentences. It's because life's fucking unfair. And as long as it's within the laws, and it's just unfair. And life's fucking unfair. Is it wrong? Yes. Is it fucked up? Yes. But what are the circumstances? When it's just bull-faced, it's because they're black, yeah, that's fucked up. That's racist. But what are the circumstances? Is it seriously just because they're black? Because that's fucked up. But if there's extenuating circumstances, like he spit at the judge, so he got maximum sentence. Well, you don't spit at the judge, dummy. Are there any extenuating circumstances into that? This is why this shit is horse shit. Every time they try to bring all these statistics up, fuck you, man. It's because people commit crimes. People need to stop committing crimes. And if every black person decided, you know what, today, we're not committing a crime. They do this, let's not go to work day. Well, that's awesome. How about let's not commit crime day? Do it for one day. See how fucking white people react to that shit. 0 crime for one whole day. You gotta make sure we see it too. You gotta point that shit out to us. But yeah. And you know, maybe you like it. Maybe you go, yeah, I didn't commit any crimes yesterday. I feel pretty good. And maybe you don't commit any crimes the next day. And then maybe you'll be the driving force for white people going, fuck, black people aren't committing crimes anymore. And then, like everything else that white people steal from you guys, we'll steal not committing crimes. It'll be great. Fucking, I solved the whole thing. No fucking oppression. Go and tell fucking go and tell Tupac that he's oppressed. He made a lot of money. Go and tell fucking Lil Wayne he's oppressed. He makes a lot of money. He started from the bottom, now here. Come on, man. There's a lot of fucking people that pull themselves up. And no, not everybody's a football star. And not everybody's LeBron fucking James. But not everybody's an animal either. Some people can control their fucking actions. Why don't we ever talk about that?